Another beautiful sun-bathed afternoon here in Baltimore. Temperature in the 70s, just a slight breeze, and a perfect day for baseball again. I'm Kurt Gowdy. This is Bill O'Donnell, a broadcaster of the Baltimore Orioles. And down in the stands, Jerome, to bring you highlights, and special guest will be Tony Koosman. Well, Baltimore did it yesterday with a combination that carried it to an easy American League championship. Strong pitching, sharp defensive plays when they had to have it, and timely hitting. The Mets, of course, hope to split now in the enemy ballpark and then go home with 3 games starting in New York on Tuesday at Shea Stadium. We have 2 left-handers pitching today. One of the bright young stars of the New York Mets, Jerry Koosman, is going to be going. And Jerry, of course, won 17 games this year. He missed nearly a month and still won those 17. He had the 5th lowest earned run average in the National League. Jerry Koosman is going for the New York Mets. A left-hander is going for the Baltimore Orioles. That's Dave Mcnally. Koosman is 25. Mcnally is 26. Mcnally won his first 15 games of the year against no losses. Then went on to post a record of 20 wins and 7 losses. The last time he pitched in a World Series, he shut out the Dodgers 1-0. And just a week ago today, he shut out the Minnesota Twins in 11 innings, winning 1-0, giving up just 3 hits. Those are the pitchers. The weather's great. And now to tell you more about the game, here's Bill O'Donnell.
Thank you, Kurt. I think Mets fans, and I'm sure the Met ball players, can take a little bit of heart from a World Series standpoint if they just look back to what happened a year ago. The home club a year ago, namely the Cardinals, won the first ball game. Then the Tigers came back and they won the second ball game behind Lolich. Additionally, the Mets can take heart from how Seaver and the relievers handled the power of the Orioles here yesterday, namely Blair, Frank Robinson, Powell, and Brooks Robinson, limiting those 4 power boys to only 1 base hit in 15 times at bat. As far as our ballpark here at Memorial Stadium in Baltimore is concerned, you remember that yesterday we commented that although it is only 309 feet down both the left and the right field foul line, this indeed is a tough park in which to pull. Yesterday, convincingly, there were really only 2 balls that pulled with conviction. The home run by Buford down the right field side and the sacrifice line drive to left field by Weiss in the 7th inning, which produced the only Met run. Yesterday, really pitching predominated more than did the hitting. Well, Tony Kubek has a guest downstairs, and let's go down to Tony right now.
Thank you, Bill. We're standing here in the commissioner's box with Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, and right to my right, Joe DiMaggio, a name that I think everybody remembers. And, Joe, this has been quite a year for you. Named on the all-time great team, it's been some summer.
Well, it certainly has, and thanks so much, Tony. The thing is, I wish we had been in the World Series, but here I am attending it, and I'm enjoying it.
Joe, you, of course, viewed this Baltimore Orioles ball club all year long in your capacity as a vice president with the Oakland A's. What are your impressions of this ball club?
Well, they're an assured ball club. I have never seen a more confident one. I have seen them all year. The thing that impresses me more than anything else is the fact that they will make a physical mistake every so often, but mental mistakes they do not make. They know just when to run, they know when to make the cutoff plays. They do it all very well. Their pitching, we know without a doubt, is very fine.
What about this Mets ball club? Have you seen much of them this year?
Well, I haven't seen too much of them. I saw some of the playoff games, and I'd have to say that Gil Hodges has done just a fabulous job in getting this young team together. The most outstanding thing that they have in their ball club, naturally, is their pitchers. But you have to give that catching a little credit, too. And there again, I'd have to say that Yogi Berra has done a fine job in working with some of these boys, as well as that coaching staff.
Joe, talking about center field for just a little bit, something I noticed, of course, you were a great center fielder, and you played fairly shallow throughout your career in Yankee Stadium. You had a lot of room to room. Have you had a chance to see Paul Blair? He plays very shallow.
I certainly have. As a matter of fact, I commented on that just the other day with McNamara and some of the American League officials in that box. And I said, that man plays an awful shallow center field. It's Swoboda up there, where a line drive certainly can go over his head. And at that time was a critical point. There were 2 men on base. He does play an awful shallow center field.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the third baseman for this Baltimore ball club. You've seen some great third basemen and played with some, too. What about Brooks Robinson? What about the play he made yesterday?
One of the finest, I think, that I have seen in all my baseball years. I didn't get to see Robinson too much up until the time that I went to spring training with the Yankees, and I saw a lot of Boyer. And I think that Boyer was about as fine a third baseman I've ever seen. But this man has to be his equal, if not, possibly a little better. Like that one play he made coming in and all in one motion and throwing from any position and getting that boy at first base, he did a great job. And I think everything he does around third base is just great.
Joe, let me ask the Commissioner of Baseball a question. Commissioner, we saw another fine ball game again yesterday, but I think you'll agree it's not over with yet. These Mets fans can't wait to get up to New York City.
Well, the Mets have been climbing for the last 8 years, Tony. They're used to looking up, so I don't think the Mets are giving up at all. I think we're going to have quite a series from here on in.
Oh, with the playoff against the Braves, every time Henry entered and hit a home run, Garrett came along and hit one, then Boswell came along. They're a club that just doesn't give up.
Well, this team has shown a great deal of bounce back, the Mets ball club, and I think you'll see it again.
Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, Joe D., thank you so much. Now let's go on back upstairs.
Mrs. Babe Ruth has just tossed out the first ball, or maybe she's going to do it again. The widow of the man voted the greatest player of all time in baseball, Babe Ruth, who was born here in Baltimore, Maryland. And now she repeats the toss to Andy Etchebarren, the Baltimore catcher. Mrs. Ruth was flanked by Joe DiMaggio and Ted Williams, two members of the all-time living outfield. Willie Mays is the other. Ruth was voted the greatest player of all time. The Orioles are breaking on the field, getting a roar from the hometown fans. And we're just about ready to go now for Game 2, and here to set up the Baltimore defense and take you into the opening 4.5 innings of play-by-play, Bill O'Donnell.
Thank you, Kurt, and hello again, everybody. It'll be Boog Powell playing at first base this afternoon for the Orioles. And at second base, chatting with the second base umpire, that is Dave Johnson. At shortstop, man with a very good glove, like Harrelson of the Mets, this is Mark Belanger. And the man with the vacuum glove at third base, Brooks Robinson, who had the play of the ball game defensively yesterday. Out in left field, this is Don Buford. In center field, the man of whom Joe DiMaggio spoke so glowingly a couple of moments ago, Paul Blair. The right fielder is Frank Robinson. The catcher, who was not behind the plate yesterday, this is Andy Etchebarren. And the second game, Baltimore starter, young man from Billings, Montana. This is Dave Mcnally. He makes his year-round home right now in Baltimore. Mcnally, whom Kurt commented about during his pregame conversation, won 15 ball games in a row before he suffered his first setback. Actually, he strung a streak of 17 victories in a row, going back to his last 2 wins in 1968. And then McNally got beat by the Minnesota Twins to break that streak. This is Tommy Agee now to lead off for the Mets. The Orioles lead 1 victory to none. These two clubs will go to New York after this ball game. Tomorrow is considered the travel day, with Game 3 on Tuesday. Now, it's Game 2, and McNally's first pitch of the afternoon, a curve and strike. In McNally's last appearance, that was in an American League Championship Series game, Game 2 against the Twins, his fastball was actually even more effective than the breaking ball. 1 strike. Here's the fastball, 1-1. On deck, this is Bud Harrelson. Agee went after the outside fastball. A ball and 2 strikes. Agee extremely aggressive, and he'll go for that outside pitch. Unusual for a leadoff batter like Agee to have as many RBIs as he had this year. He drove over 76 runs, batting from the top spot. 1-2. Foul tip past the throwing hand of Etchebarren. The catcher at whom you're looking caught all 4 games the last time the Orioles were in a World Series, back in 1966. And he caught McNally in that series in games 1 and 4. 1-2 again to Agee. Still alive on the foul, right back in front of our NBC booth. McNally will, as you see him finger that ball, he'll place the ball right in the glove. And he'll get the ball in the glove exactly as he wants to grip it. 1-2. No play on the foul ball, drifting back of the Mets dugout.
I think the tip on McNally, Bill, that the fans should watch for, when he gets his curve over, that's when he's really tough. And when he ran into a slump in September, the Orioles said he went into the slump because he wasn't getting his curve where he wanted to.
1-2. And no play on that hot shot foul outside the Oriole dugout. During the season, the Mets manager, Gil Hodges, pointed out, especially late in the season, quite a few of his ball players who made the outstanding contribution, and A.G. was included in that list. Out number one, Mcnally hangs up his first strikeout. The umpires working today, Frank Sikori of the National League at the plate. First base umpire from the American League, Larry North. Shag Crawford from the National League at second. The third base umpire, by the way, working his first World Series, Lou DeMuro of the American League. The foul line umpires, Lee Wire from the National League and Hank Soar from the American League. Strike one to the fouling, Bud Harrelson.
Where did that Albert slip in? I've never, that's a real name, but I've never heard him called Albert.
Harrelson went 1 for 3 in yesterday's opening game to the series, and those are his stats for the season. He sprays the ball, moves the ball around the outfield and the infield quite a bit. Mcnally will have to hurry his throw because Harrelson has speed. Just got to it. Harrelson was out by an eyelash at first base. Mcnally charged off the mound about 2 steps to the grass and towards the third base foul side. The Met coaches at the top of the screen. The third base boss is Eddie Yost, and there is the likable Yogi Berra, the boss at first base. There are 2 gone now on the top of the first inning. And here is Cleon Jones. Jones went 1 for 4 yesterday against Cuellar.
Number 21, Cleon Jones.
Jones, who finished third among the National League hitters during 1969, following Pete Rose and Roberto Clemente. Jones batted .340. 2 gone. We're just in the top of the first inning and just underway. Right one. On deck. This is called John Clendenin, the New York first baseman. You'll notice that Mcnally will not whip the arms in his windup over the head. He feels he has short arms, and he'd rather wind to the side of his head rather than back on top. The fastball fouled away. Powell giving it a chase, but it will drift in the seat. Jones led the Mets in many departments. Mcnally led the Orioles in a few pitching departments, including games started. He actually started more ball games than Cuellar did during 1969. Mcnally ahead, 2 strikes. No play again on the foul ball upstairs. You see that spot at which we're looking right now, and we just moved away from it. During a ball game this year when Sam McDowell was in here to pitch against the Indians, as some ball players do understandably, he got mad at an umpire's call, and he threw the ball 2 rows from the top of the upper deck. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Jones. That's how some school students here in Baltimore feel about their birds. They represent a school called Towson State College. 1 and 2. Powell has a chance over by the box seat. And that retires the side, 1-2-3. And so at the middle of the first inning, the score is the Mets nothing with the Orioles coming to bat. Here's the way the Mets now will set up defensively behind left-hander Jerry Koosman. Don Clendenin, the New York first baseman. At second base, the clever fielding Al White. And a young man with a lot of range at shortstop to the holder back a second. This is Bud Harrelson, the shortstop. Third baseman for Gil Hodges is Ed Charles. Out in left field is Cleon Jones. And a man with a lot of range both in and back is Tommy A.G. in center. And the right fielder, a Baltimore-bred youngster, by the way, Ron Svoboda. As he did yesterday, Jerry Grody will catch game 2 for the Mets. And appearing for the first time in a World Series, the young left-hander is Jerry Koosman. Koosman goes 6 feet 2, 205 pounds. And this is how Koosman fared during the Mets' pennant-winning 1969 season. He won 17 overall, and he lost 9. Koosman, like Mcnally, leans on fastballs and good breaking stuff for his outfit. And the figuring before game time is that Koosman perhaps has the better fastball than Mcnally, that perhaps Mcnally has the better breaking pitch than Koosman.
Koosman's having trouble getting that mound to his liking. He's been scraping on it and digging and pounding out there. Every pitcher has his own feeling of the pitching rubber and how comfortable he is on his step-off.
All right, Kurt, here is Don Buford, who led off yesterday's ball game on the second pitch with a home run. He bats from either side. Strike one. Of course, he swung left-handed yesterday to get that first inning home run. And he drove over 2 of the Orioles' 4 runs yesterday. The breaking ball, it's the ball and a strike. Koosman, for the most part, with his pitches, will come from right on top. Against some left-handers, he'll go from the first base side. The let up, and it had the plate, but a little bit high. 2 balls and 1 strike. Koosman missed quite a bit of the early part of the season, but yet wound up making 32 starts nonetheless. 2-1. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On deck, this is Paul Blair. Koosman had quite a record down in the minors a couple of years ago before being called back up for good by the big club. 2-2. Got him on the fastball right into his hand. So Koosman, as well as Mcnally, both picked up strikeouts against leadoff batters. And these are Mets fans and their biggest fans. Their owner, Mrs. Joan Payson. Paul Blair hitless in 3 trips yesterday and 285 for the year. Like Frank Robinson, Blair will crowd the plate quite a bit. Yesterday, Met pitchers served Blair more breaking stuff than good live fastballs. The changeup, Jones with plenty of room out in left field, and more room than even he needed. An easy play for the Mets and for Cleon Jones out in left and a quick second out. 2 up and 2 away in the bottom of the first inning. The Oriole coaches, the top of the screen is Billy Hunter, the coach is third, and the first base coach is George Stallings. This is part now of the Oriole power cast. Frank Robinson, who ripped off 32 home runs, but was held hitless yesterday. 0-1. As a matter of fact, he was fanned twice yesterday. The Met pitching did a fine job against Blair, both Robinsons and Powell, limiting that foursome to only 1 base hit. 1-0. Deep right center field. Very deep, Adrian Svoboda. And Svoboda right in front of the 390-foot marker. That ball right to the marker. And so at the end of the first inning score is Baltimore nothing and New York.
Svoboda made a fine play just before Frank Robinson came to bat. This breeze sprung up and is blowing in from right center toward home plate. Held that ball up just a bit. Svoboda got a good jump on it over there in front of the right center field area to keep it from going out.
Well, friends, this game is authorized under television rights granted by Major League Baseball solely for the entertainment of our audience. And any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Don Clendenin starts the top of the second inning. Strike 1 to Clendenin, who had a pair of base hits yesterday, including a double in the left center field power alley with Ron Svoboda coming on next. After the fastball, and not too much room for Powell with it back in the seat. Clendenin, for his size, gets down in a pretty deep crouch, and then when that ball comes forward, he tries to just strike and streak right for it. 1-2. Clendenin, the only man this year on a visiting club to hit 2 home runs at Dodger Stadium against L.A. pitching. 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Didn't get the fastball through. Mcnally made 40 starts during the regular season. He completed 11 of them. He had 4 shutouts, including a 1-hitter against Minnesota. The curve missing. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The American League leader in starts was Denny McLain of the Tigers. He made 41 starts. So 2 men on the spot. Clendenin leading off the top of the second. He loses him. Walk number 1 in the ball game. And Clendenin, the leadoff batter now, becomes, from the Mets standpoint, the go-ahead run at first base. Well, the Orioles have been in 5 World Series games, 4 in 1966, 1 yesterday. They've never lost a series ball game. Here is Ron Swoboda. Swoboda yesterday against Cuellar was 1 for 3. He had a base hit his last time up. Powell holds. Clendenin is leading. Didn't get the fastball into his letters. He jammed it to the inside corner. Now, McNally has 2 kind of good breaking pitches, hard slider and a pretty good curve. He did not actually use the slider until last season. He came up with the slider as a new pitch a year ago. One ball, 1 strike. That's Frank Sikori of the National League doing the ball strike calling back of Etcheburn. Swoboda, who helped the Mets and made a great contribution during their pennant drive in August and September, drove over a lot of runs. 1-1. Should be playable by Powell. He's got a high sky in front of him also. And Powell with the glasses down against the high sky for the putout. The second game of the World Series today is being brought to you in living color on the World Series Network, and that's NBC. 1 gone in the Mets' second inning, and here is third baseman Ed Charles.
Playing third base, number 5, Ed Charles.
Charles was hitless yesterday in Game 1. A strike. The breaking stuff kind of fooled Charles as he yanked his head away. Frank Sikori, who just went out to check home plate, and now we're looking at the on-deck batter, Jerry Grody. Sikori has played in a World Series. That was back in 1945 for the Cubs. 1 strike. It's another one. Mcnally has been working tight to Charles. He gave him a low breaking pitch right into his knees. Now, this is not it's not a muggy day, but it is a warm day. And the warmth already showing in the perspiration of McNally. Johnson will get the 4th play, and there'll be no play to first base. Actually, Clendenin had to hold up. Clendenin could not move with conviction toward second base because Clendenin was not sure whether Johnson could actually get to the line drive before it hit the dirt.
Johnson had a similar play yesterday in the 8th inning. Harrelson hit him a ball just like that. At low line drives, getting 1 hopper. A tough chance.
Charles is now the base runner with 2 away in the top of the second inning. And here's one of the scrappy ball players on this Mets 1969 National Championship club, Jerry Grody, the catcher. Ball 1, Jerry. Jerry had a base hit yesterday, as the Mets got 6 hits off Cuellar, and the Orioles also had 6 off Mets pitching. 1-0 to Grody. Fastball right down the middle. It cut the plate and dealt high. Mcnally, probably more than any other Oriole pitcher, spends very little time concentrating on the runner. Normally, all he'll do is give him a quick look. McNally's main concern, he will tell you, is to concentrate to the plate. He has a notion, and the strike was called by Sikora. 1-2. When McNally this year has had his biggest problem, has been early in ball games when he's had serious control difficulties. More often than not, McNally has been strong late and weak early. On the way to second is Charles, and pulled down by Johnson. Etchebarren had some trouble. On the loose ball, and I think Weaver is complaining to Sikora that Etchebarren was impeded and blocked by Grody. I think Weaver is complaining that Grody got in the way of Etchebarren.
I wonder if he's going to show us that little smile. Well, there he goes back to the dugout. He has sort of an angelic smile he gives the umpires, and it's become irritating around the league. That's just his manner. He's a rookie World Series manager, has done a great job with these Orioles. Never played in the major leagues.
A wild pitch charged to McNally on the advance by Charles to second base. So for the first time early in the ball game, one club has the runner in scoring position. The count to Grody, 2 balls, 2 strikes, with 2 outs. Had a notion again, but then Grody just checked the swing in time on that breaking pitch into his hand. Grody batted .252, but in many clutch situations, as this is Charles with his lead at second base, in many clutch situations for the Mets, during their pennant express drive, Grody delivered key base wallets. Pay pitch, 3-2 coming. And that bounced off the foot of Grody, and so that'll be a foul ball, and Grody will have to walk it off. There's no way that a sting like that on top of the foot wears off quickly. You just have to let the pain subside and just think about it and just chew down on the lip. But Grody being a catcher, and that probably is the one part of a ball club where you have to have your most scrappy type of ball player. A guy like Grody recovers quickly. Still 3-2, and that's Charles off second. Still alive. Right back to the screen on the foul ball. We have left-handers like Mcnally as starters today against Koosman. It will be right-handers due to start Tuesday at Shea Stadium in New York. Palmer for Baltimore, Gentry for the New York Mets. Money pitch again. Belanger or Blair should get to it, and they're going to give it Blair coming in and facing him. Blair for the put-out in shallow center field. And so at the middle of the second inning, the score is New York 0, Baltimore. Tony Kubek is ready downstairs with an interesting guest. Tony, whom do you have?
Thank you. I've got Mrs. Babe Ruth down here. Mrs. Ruth, it was quite a thrill for you this year, I think, during the summer to receive those awards for the Babe, wasn't it?
Well, it was the greatest honor ever bestowed upon Babe. And really and truly, I was speechless. I was so happy, and he could only have been here to have received them, but it was just great, Tony.
Mrs. Ruth, you know the Babe, I guess, having spent his boyhood in Baltimore, had a real warm spot for this town, doesn't he?
Yes, he always considered Baltimore his own, although he played most of his career in New York City. Baltimore was always nearest to his heart.
Mrs. Babe Ruth, thank you so much. Nice to see you out the ballpark.
Okay, Tony. Look, I'll see you again.
Thank you very much. Now let's go on back upstairs.
Thank you, Tony Kubek and the lovely Mrs. Babe Ruth. In the bottom of the second inning, the ball game is scoreless. And here's the man they consider the Babe in Baltimore, Powell with a big bat. That let-up curve. Koosman trying to keep Powell off balance. Powell does have a tendency to lunge a bit. Pull the breaking stuff right into the seats, and that's fairly deep down the right field side. Koosman way ahead of Powell at 0-2. We commented about Blair, Frank Robinson, Powell, and Brooks Robinson being held by Seaver and Company to only one hit yesterday. This is Brooks Robinson on deck. Powell was the one who had the base hit. He tried to go crossfire from the first base side, Kurt.
I was talking to Powell today and asked him how he hit left-handers, and he said he had a seasonal average of .303 against left-handers this year. He's very proud of that.
1-2 delivery. He went with that hard stuff again from the first base side. Second year that this gentleman played organized baseball with the club of the New York Penn League, Auburn. He had an earner average of under a run and a half a game, and he spanned Powell on let-up breaking stuff for his second strikeout. 2 strikeouts hung up by Koosman. With Brooks Robinson now coming to the plate, we'd like to remind you that tomorrow night, Bob Hope plays host to Mr. Jimmy Durante, Tom Jones, Barbara McNair, and Donald O'Connor as Chrysler presents the Bob Hope Special. That's tomorrow night at 9, 8 o'clock Central Time, right here on NBC. Brooks Robinson, who made the play of the ball game defensively yesterday on pinch hitter Rod Gaspar's tapper on the grass. Ball 1 to Brooks. Dave Johnson will be batting next. 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. The outfield right now is playing Brooks almost as deep in right as it's playing Brooks in left. Agee's giving it the long run, plus Harrelson retreating. It is Harrelson, the shortstop, back in shallow center field. Koosman has faced 5, has retired 5 in a row. And now here is Dave Johnson. Kurt, before the ball game today, chatting with Johnson in the clubhouse, we asked him if he was more relaxed going into the 69 series than he was going into the 66. And surprisingly enough, he said, I'm actually more nervous in this one than I was in my first one.
But the old saying, a little knowledge is better.
1 strike to Johnson now with 2 gone. Andy Echeverrin is on deck. And the Oriole bat boy right beside him, James O. Soft curve for a ball and a strike.
Koosman looks good, Bill. He's got that hard fastball, but that curve he's using for a changeup has been very effective.
One thing about him, Kurt, he doesn't waste any time. Give me the ball, let me throw it. 2 balls and 1 strike.
He explains that. He says, what else is there to do between pitches?
2 gone, bottom of the second inning. No score. Foul about 5 to 10 feet off that left field foul side. Down the left field line, you will notice, as you look back to that 14-foot-high fence, there's actually only 1 short stride between the foul line right there and that restraining fence. So anything hit down that line is very difficult to play. Koosman 3-2 with Dave Johnson. Still 3-2. At the moment, and we're very early in the ball game, at the moment, Koosman seems far more in control of his pitches than Seaver did at the same point of the ball game yesterday. Koosman had retired 5 in a row, and he, like Mcnally, now have both given up a walk. Mcnally passed the leadoff batter in the top of the second inning, Charles, and now Koosman free tickets Johnson with 2 out in the bottom of the second inning. Echeverrin, whom Kurt told you, Like Powell, batted very good against left-handers. Echeverria and Hendricks were platooned all season long back of the plate. Agee's got a tough play, but he made a good run for it, galloping to deep center field. Agee played it perfectly, timed it perfectly. And so at the end of the second inning, the score is New York 0, Baltimore. Well, some 50,000 here at Memorial Stadium today, and among them are Tony Kubek and the chairman of the board of the Baltimore Baseball Club, Jerry Hoffberger. Tony?
Thank you, Bill. Mr. Hoffberger, your ball club had some kind of year.
Yeah, he sure did have some kind of year. We're just pleased to be here and hope we can get through a few more ball games and win at least 4. Then we really have some kind of year.
I guess you're taking your crew up to New York to see the series up there.
I'm taking everybody who wants to go.
Hoffberger, thank you so much. Congratulations once again. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, thank you, Tony. And Mr. Jerry Hoffberger, Al Weiss has looked at strike one. He'll be followed by Koosman and Agee here in the top of the third. Mcnally and Koosman hooked up in a scoreless pitching duel. Fastball. He kept it outside to Weiss and tipped the corner with it. Koosman with a windbreaker is on deck. 2 strikes to Weiss. One and 2. Weiss drove in the only Met run yesterday with a sacrifice fly to left field. Weiss has not played in this park since he was involved in the 1967 collision at second base with Frank Robinson. Well, about 20,000 umpires were in behind Frank Sikora. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The fastball, he got it for a base hit right down the pipe and belt high. Weiss got his kind of pitch and has drilled it for a base knock. That is the ball game's first base hit. So in the third, like the second, the Mets have the leadoff batter aboard. Charles drew a walk but was left. Actually, he was not left stranded, but eventually Charles was left stranded. Here's Jerry Koosman. He throws left, but that's from the other side. He had 4 base hits with the bat during the regular season. Weiss at first, nobody out. Robinson creeping up from third. Strike 1 to Koosman. Koosman taking a glance to Eddie Yost to find out whether the sacrifice bunt sign has still been flagged. Brooks still creeping up, getting all he can. It looked like Koosman wanted to bunt the ball towards first baseman Boog Powell. Now, some fellows are instructed, pitchers included. Some are instructed by managers or coaches. Try to bunt to certain fellows and keep bunts away from other fielders. And it looked like Koosman was trying to lay it down towards Powell rather than Robinson. Over there on the left side of your picture, Robinson still staying tight to the grass and keeps on moving in. They expect the bunt, and it was foul tipped off the throwing hand of Andy Echeverria. Or no, it was missed off Echeverria, but with a runner occupying first base, the ball obviously then was not touched. Or if it was touched on the second strike and it was fouled off, that's the reason Koosman has gone back to the dugout. That's the Oriole trainer, Ralph Salvon, with manager Earl Weaver, finding out just how much the foul tip on the second strike bothered Echeverria.
Here it is. You ever see a catcher, the old catcher's hands? That's ticked off the bat. Well, they take a beating behind that plate with that bare hand.
One away now as Koosman tried to bunt on the second strike, fouled it off, and that will be a Mcnally strikeout. That will be his second strikeout. One away, top of the order, and here is Agee. Tommy Agee struck out in the first inning. Strike 1. Agee is 0 for 5 in the series, and this is Harrelson on deck. Mcnally just led up a
of the first 10 batters that McNally's faced, he's had one strike on him. He's had that first pitch in there for a strike.
Powell holding and White leading. Tough chance for two, and they just managed to get one because of the good range of Belanger. Belanger had to go deep to the hole.
Watch Belanger's range on this. He's a brilliant fielding shortstop. He's a great basketball star at Pittsfield, Massachusetts High School. Look at his agility. Gets that throw away with something on it, right on target. Belanger can range right, left, and he and Brooks Robinson really make it hard to drive the ball through that left side of the infield.
2 away now in the Mets' third inning. The runner at first base is A.G., who just rounded into that fourth play, with Belanger starting the great throw from the hold on the left side. This is Bud Harrelson, the shortstop. Ball one. Harrelson, neither big nor strong nor heavy. He doesn't go more than 150 pounds. That's one of the few times that Mcnally, during a ball game, goes to first base, as we mentioned. He's made his first move in the ball game to first base. Now, A.G. likes to run. He's aggressive with the bat, and he's also aggressive on the bases. Two and 0 to Harrelson. Harrelson picked up quite a few base hits this year, using the bat to bunt, and also likes to drag bunt. Fastball was too tight, 3 and 0. Mcnally right now is having his very first struggle situation of the ball game. And Etchebarren going out for one of two purposes, telling Mcnally that perhaps he's releasing the ball at the wrong spot, or telling him maybe that he'd like to throw Harrelson a different way. Harrelson, by the way, when he was in high school, was actually a third baseman. And when he got in the minors, he was changed over to a shortstop. 3 and 0. 4 pitches, and he loses him. Mcnally has now given up 2 walks. The biggest threat in the ball game by either side now being provided here in the top of the third. Harrelson at first, A.G. at second base. 2 out, and the batter is the man with the hot bat on this Met ball club, Cleon Jones.
Number 21, Cleon Jones.
Jones fouled out to first baseman Powell in the first inning. In the history of the New York Mets, nobody has ever carried a higher batting average than this young man. The highest average before Jones's 340 this year was held by Richie Ashburn, and that was in the Mets' very first season, 1962. 2 on, 2 gone. McNally's struggling now with both the fastball and also that slider he threw too low and tight. That's A.G. at second base. Plus Harrelson at first base. With a good lead, he's not being held by Powell. Top of the third, no score. 1-0 to Jones. 2 and 0. Mcnally now has failed to find the plate in 6 straight pitches. After McNally picked up those 15 straight wins this season, on which Kurt commented, he had struggle situations with his control during the month of August. 2 balls and 1 strike. He kept the fastball a little bit outside on the corner to Jones. A.G. at second, and there's Harrelson. the runner at first. Jones, 2 balls and 1 strike. Mcnally now is really treading on thin ice here in the top of the third. At the moment, there is no activity in the Oriole bullpen, but there's some stirring going on out there. This fellow's moving around. Now, the Orioles have long relievers like Dave Leonard. 3-1. 3-2. Normally, long relievers are Leonard and Harden. And let's see, this is Harden, Jim Harden. And that's the bullpen coach right beside Harden. Watching him warm up, that was Charlie Lau. This is Mcnally, knows he's in a tough spot, knows he's got to concentrate, knows he can't give Jones too good a pitch on 3-2. Jones has power and a good clutch swinger. Jones can hit the ball up the middle and also to the power pocket. Runners go. Deep left field. Buford giving it a chase. And Buford almost lost that deep fly ball. He looked like he might have almost overrun the ball.
That ball was really ripped to left field. Don Buford converted into an outfielder from an infielder. He's short. He has to go up for this one. Another foot or two, and the Mets might have had 2 runs in.
And so, at the middle of the third inning, the score is New York 0, Baltimore. Well, we've only had 1 base hit in the ball game thus far as we go to the bottom of the third, and that was by Al White to start the top of the third. Beginning the bottom third, here is Mark Belanger, the 8th batter, and the Orioles shortstop. Right center field with A.G. And A.G. with a good speed, backed up 1 step in front of the warning track. Now, unlike yesterday, with the exception of Buford's first inning home run, we've had a lot of long, hot shots in this ballpark within 3 innings. Dave Mcnally, who, like Koosman, although he throws left, bats right. And who, like all pitchers, loves to brag once in a while about a home run, such as he hit this season. Ball 1 to Mcnally. On deck is the leadoff batter, Don Buford. 1 ball and 1 strike. Koosman's fastball moving quite a bit. Actually, some people feel that Koosman's fastball moves even more than Seaver's does. He let up on the breaking ball. 2 balls and 1 strike. Mcnally never played high school baseball, but did play in the fine program out in Billings, Montana, provided by the American Legion. 2-2 to Mcnally. Koosman has been moving the ball around, especially working the inside corner to Mcnally and everything down to his knees. Koosman hangs up his 3rd strikeout and his 2nd out in the bottom of the 3rd. In the first 9 batters, the Orioles have had only 1 base runner. That was Johnson with a 2-out walk last inning. Here's Buford, one of the hitting heroes yesterday, and provided them with great strength as a leadoff batter all season long. 2 out, no score. Oh, what a magnificent play by Harrelson. Magnificent.
Well, we've seen 2 brilliant plays by these shortstops, Belanger, and now Harrelson comes up with one. Watch his dive for this one. A sensational stab here by Harrelson. Cut that ball about 6 inches off the ground, held onto it, even though his impact could have jarred it loose.
And so at the end of the 3rd inning, the score is New York 0, Baltimore 0. In the top of the 4th inning, it will be Don Clendenin, followed by Ron Swoboda and Ed Charles. Clendenin a lot will go after the first pitch, but had no chance to go after that one. Clendenin is known as the first ball swinger. Clendenin walked in the second inning. One ball and one strike. One after the fastball. Frank Robinson's got a tough play to the fence in right field, and the Mets have gone ahead 1-0. That's almost in the same spot where Buford hit his home run yesterday for the Orioles. Clendenin with opposite field power just cleared the fence in right field in front of the auxiliary scoreboard.
Clendenin has really been hitting in this series, yesterday and today. Now been on base twice today. He had 2 hits yesterday. Look at that follow-through.
Mcnally serving ball 1 to Ron Svoboda. Koosman has held the Orioles hitless. The Mets have picked up 2 hits off Mcnally, including that blast by Clendenin. Off his feet right in the batter's box in a foul ball. McNally has just had a personal 14-inning scoreless streak snapped. And snapped indeed by Clendenin. And incidentally, Dave McNally also had 12 scoreless innings during World Series competition snaps. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Svoboda. On deck is Ed Charles. 1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. When Svoboda was a Met rookie in 1965, he had 19 home runs, more than any other rookie in the history of the amazing Mets. Just trying to relax as he's swinging the shoulders around. 2-2. Still riding 2-2.
So far in this game, Bill, the Mets have hit harder shots off McNally than the Orioles have off Koosman. They've hit the ball hard 3 or 4 times right at somebody for outs, but they've stung the ball.
2-2 again. McNally has his 3rd strikeout and his first out in the top of the 4th inning. Well, Tony getting ready to talk to the very attractive Mitzi Gaynor, and I'm sure Tony's looking forward to that. Ed Charles is the batter. Remember now, immediately following this game, stay tuned for American Football League action, where you will see the New York Jets at Cincinnati, Houston at Kansas City, and Oakland at Denver. Pretty tight to Charles for ball 1. The fastball. Belanger's got to make a hurried throw, and he got him by 1 stride. That was a chopper, and Belanger had no trouble bringing it down, but realizing that Charles has pretty hot feet and speed down the first base side, had a hurried throw. Jerry Grody's been up once today, fly to center field. The Mets are leading 1-0, batting in the top of the 4th on Clendenin's leadoff opposite field home run. The curve for a strike. McNally, a 22-game winner last year. A 20-game winner this year. Okay to Etchebarren. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gil Hodges in the Mets dugout along with Rube Walker, his pitching coach. Well, that Bird enjoying the World Series, and he's the only one to come in this ballpark without a ticket today. 1-1. Robinson, tough again. and made it.
Well, it's an odd thing. Brooks Robinson says this is not the hardest play for him. Usually it is for a third baseman. The secret, he says, is to pick the ball up as his left foot. Now watch him and throw off the right foot. There he is, picking it up on the left foot as it strikes, and then throwing as he lifts his right foot up. And he throws overhand. He says his toughest play is backhanding across the body to the line.
And so in the middle of the fourth inning, it's New York 1, Baltimore nothing.
For a 1-0 game, we've had 4 brilliant plays here and a lot of action.
We've had one by Harrelson, one by Brooks Robinson, one by Belanger. This is Paul Blair in the bottom of the fourth inning. Yanks the head out on that low breaking shot from Koosman. He got the fastball through to the belt, and he kept it right on the inside corner. So Koosman has gone soft curve and also gone with heat to the inside corner. And he's way in front of Blair at 2 strikes. Frank Robinson is on deck. This should be played by Harrelson or Weiss. It is Weiss waving off A.J. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is Frank Robinson now, the Baltimore batter, in the bottom of the fourth inning. He slides deep to right center to the 390-foot marker in the first inning. But Svoboda ranged far and deep to pull down the deep fly ball. Robinson is hitless in the series. The Mets pitchers have handled him 5 times. Ball 1. One away in the bottom of the fourth. Tough play for Harrelson, but he has a good range. Right back at second base. Another good range defensive play by Harrelson. 2 away in the bottom of the fourth inning. Harrelson, before that ground ball off Robinson's bat, had shaded the hole a bit. He was not blocking the hole, but was shading it. Powell fanned against Koosman in the second inning. Now, twice when Powell was up in the second inning, and let's see if Koosman does it again, Koosman came with good hard stuff from the first base side. Crossfire fastball. He came from the 3/4 side that time, ball 1. Brooks Robinson on deck with 2 outs. Mets are leading 1-0. Orioles batting in the bottom of the fourth. Weiss on a hot shot, one hopper to retire the side at the end of 4 innings of play. It's New York 1, Baltimore nothing.
Thank you, Bill. I've got Mitzi Gaynor down here. Mitzi, how are you enjoying the ball game?
Oh, I think it's marvelous. Of course, the World Series is about the most exciting event of all sports of the year.
You know, you're going to have a chance tomorrow to show some people all over the country a special. Mitzi Gaynor special. Is it a good show?
Oh, well, we think it's a good show.
You're being too modest.
Knocking on wood right now. I hope everybody enjoys it. It's on.
Who's going to be on the show with you?
Ross Martin is on the show with me, and he's one of the co-stars of the Wild Wild West show, and he's a brilliant man. I couldn't be more excited about him, and he does a wonderful, wonderful job in the show.
Mitzi Gaynor, what time is this going to be? And it's tomorrow night, isn't it?
It's tomorrow night, yes. It's October the 13th, and it's on 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time and 9 o'clock Central Time.
Mitzi Gaynor, thank you so much. You've added a lot to the ball game, especially for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
2 strikes
Let's
to
go on
Al
back
Weiss.
upstairs.
2 strikes to Al Weiss, and it stays there on the riding foul ball back to the screen. Weiss had a base hit to begin the top of the third. A looking third strike, and Mcnally has now hung up 4 strikeouts. Mcnally, during the regular season, in more than 230 innings of work, fanned 166 American League batters. And the applause from, naturally, a partisan Baltimore crowd, but a very good round of applause, is for this strong New York Mets pitcher, Jerry Koosman. Koosman has faced 13 men and retired 12 of the 13. Koosman fans in the third. Got a piece of the Mcnally fastball. The Mets are leading 1-0 on the strength of the powerful home run wallop by Clendenin. One strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. It looked like Koosman had an early notion and then figured out that breaking stuff was too low and inside. 1-1 to Koosman. We've had this ball game featured by Clendenin's homer and some outstanding defensive plays both sides. 1-1. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Koosman, when he was pitching against Mcnally, kept his stuff low and tight, and Mcnally working over his opposing pitcher the same way. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 5 strikeouts for Mcnally, the second time that he's fanned Koosman. Now McNally will go against the top of the Mets order, Tommy Agee. Agee was robbed, perhaps, of a base hit back in the third inning when he grounded a hot smash to the hole at short, and Belanger turned it over into a fourth play at second base. Agee trying to pick up right now his first base hit in the series. Checked his swing, but not in time. Corey, the National League umpire, claiming that he committed himself and snapped the wrist. One ball and 1 strike. Agee played the most games of any member of the Mets, scored the most runs, belted the most homers, and had the most RBIs. Off his shoes in the batter's box and fell. Agee and Cleon Jones had quite a battle for the RBI leadership. Agee wound up with 76. Jones had 75. Two away. The Mets are leading. They're batting in the top of the 5th inning. Mcnally, off and on, has had control difficulties, especially during the 3rd inning, but he survived the 3rd inning without a run scored. Fastball is strike 3 looking. He got it right to his letters. McNally fanned the side. And so at the middle of the 5th inning, the score is New York 1, Baltimore 0. Kubek has another guest downstairs, and Tony, whom do you have?
Thank you, Bill. Down here with me, Sandy Koufax, and I think Sandy was seeing quite a pitching duel.
We are, Tony. I think they're both capable of that. Mickey and I talked about it on the pregame show. They're both great pitchers. I said Koosman was going to have to do a better job. He couldn't do an equal job because I felt that Baltimore had a better ball club, and so far he has. You can't fault anything Jerry's done. He's done a great job.
Sandy, early in the ball game, Frank Robinson hit a ball to right field. It looked like it was going to go out, and the wind seemed to hold it up.
Well, I think the wind is blowing in a little bit from right today. And if you hit the ball high, it's going to keep it. It's not going to get out. The ball Clendenin hit was a line drive.
Brooks Robinson grounding out from 3rd to 1st with Charles to Clendenin. And now let's turn over this NBC microphone to Kurt Gowdy.
Thank you, Bill. Robinson had previously flied to center. Dave Johnson up now, walked his first time. The only man to reach base for the Orioles has been Dave Johnson. Koosman has struck out 3, walked 1. 1-0, New York, on Don Clendenin's home run. A ball. Curves over. It's been a big pitch for him today. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dave Johnson had leg injuries all year that hampered him. Change up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. On deck, Andy Etchebarren, the catcher. Johnson also had some back trouble. Jerry Koosman delivers 1 and 2. 2 and 2 now. Koosman is from Morse, M-O-R-S-E, Morse, Minnesota, town of about 4,100. And they have a delegation here today. They're supposed to have a big sign somewhere down the right field foul line. The 2-2 delivery. Curve is 3 and 2. This is the second 3 and 2 count that Koosman's had in the game. Both on Dave Johnson. That's how sharp he's been with his control. 1 out, nobody on. The 3-2 pitch. Fly ball, right field. Ron Sloboda puts it away, and they're 2 down. When that ball leaves the bat, these outfielders have been flipping those sunglasses down today. What the ball players call a light sky. There's not a cloud in the sky. And that makes it a tough sky when you're looking up there in that bright sun. Andy Etchebarren. Fly to center his first time. They play him over toward right. They're 2 down, nobody on. That slow ball of Koosman. One ball, no strike. Well, the Mets got lucky with this boy. He was pitching down in Fort Bliss, Texas. And a young fella down there recommended him to his uncle, who was an usher in Shea Stadium. Told the Mets to look him over. There's a fly ball into the right field corner, deep. That ball is hot by Sloboda. That's twice he's been chased up against fences today. So it's 3 up, 3 down. And at the end of 5 innings here in Baltimore, the score, the New York Mets 1 and Baltimore nothing. Bud Harrelson leading off. Bud Harrelson trying to bunt, pops up to Andy Etchebarren. 1 away for the Mets in the top of the 6th. Harrelson previously had bounced to the pitcher and walked. Leon Jones is fouled out to first and lined out to left field to end the 3rd inning when there were 2 runners on. The Mets have 2 hits. Weiss singled in the 3rd. Clendenon homered in the 4th. Baltimore's been held hitless and runless so far.
Kurt, World Series crowds are always alive, but I think today's crowd is even more alive than yesterday. We had one of these typical nail-biting types of ball games between Mcnally and Koosman.
One out, nobody on. 1-0 to Jones with Clendenon on deck. McNally has struck out 6. There's Clendenon. Now it's 2-0. He has walked 2. Jones is a good breaking ball hitter. Pops it up. Shallow right center. Waiting for it is the center fielder, Paul Blair, who yelled second baseman Dave Johnson off.
Kurt, this is Linda Wehrheim, the only female member of the ground crew, and when they sweep off the bases and also clean off the infield, Linda goes over, and normally she kisses the third base coach. Every once in a while, she'll take that broom and she'll hit the third base coach right in the back. But she did the delightful thing. She kissed him.
Ball 1 to Don Clendenon, who's walked and homered. Been on base 4 times now in these first 2 games. The third base coach was Eddie Yost for the Mets. Ground ball to second. A big hop to Dave Johnson, and the Mets are quickly out 1-2-3 in the top of the sixth inning. At the end of 5.5 innings, the score, the New York Mets 1 and the Baltimore Orioles nothing. Well, baseball capping off a record season with innovations this year, new divisional play, championship series playoffs, and its all-time attendance record. And culminated in the World Series here with Game 2 in Baltimore, moving on to New York Tuesday afternoon at Shea Stadium. Gentry for the Mets, Palmer for the Orioles. And we'll be on the air on NBC at 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time next Tuesday afternoon. Mark Belanger, the last of the sixth inning, flied out his first time. And Koosman drops that curve in. He's had a fastball, a curve, and a changeup. Belanger finished strong. The fastball is slide to right. Swoboda, one down. And let's see, Swoboda now has had 4 putouts. And 11 in a row now have gone down. Since Dave Johnson walked in the second, he's the only man to reach base so far for the Orioles. Dave Mcnally getting in line as he comes up. Koosman, by the way, has delivered only 51 pitches in this game. Foul back. New York leading 1-0. Last of the sixth inning. Ball, 1 strike one. The Orioles didn't hit much the last 3 weeks of the year. There's Don Buford on deck. They had 2 tight games against Minnesota in their championship series. They've scored 11 runs in the 3rd game. The 1-1 pitch. Ball 2. 2-1 to Dave Mcnally. Koosman, 25 years old. Blew the fastball by. 2-2. Right back to the box. And they're 2 down here in the last of the sixth inning. At the top of the order we go now, and Don Buford, who struck out swinging in the first, lined to short, robbed of a base hit in the third by Bud Harrelson. Buford, a switch hitter.
Number 9, Don Buford.
Two down, nobody on. Buford trying to bunt his way on. Strike 1 to him. All Blair on deck. We talked about Tom Agee leading his club in RBIs. Buford had 64 runs batted in this year. 1-1 to him. So we have 2 leadoff men in this World Series, both outstanding and driving in runs, hitting in that leadoff spot. The 1-1 pitch. Change up, bounce to short. Bad hop. Harrelson handles it, throws him out. And for the first 6 innings of this game, Jerry Koosman has pitched a no-hitter. At the end of 6, the score, the New York Mets 1 and the Baltimore Orioles nothing. Let's go down to Tony.
Thank you, Kurt. Got Mickey Mantle down here, and Mick, it looks like Jerry Koosman is throwing the ball right by these Orioles hitters.
Well, he has real good stuff. I guess he's got a no-hitter up until right now, and From down here, he looks a lot better than he did. I was out in the truck, in the NBC truck, watching him a while ago, and he looks a lot better from here than he did out there.
He's got a pretty good curveball, too.
He has. He's got good stuff, and he's not giving them anything good to hit, and this is a tough ballpark to score in anyway, so it looks like it might be a long day for the Orioles.
Mickey Mantle, thank you so much. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, the Mets in the seventh. Leonard warming up. Dave Leonard warming up. That's the first warm-up action we've had. We need a bullpen today. Strike one to Sloboda, fouled out and struck out. Being played deep. Couple of strides toward left. One strike. 1-1. Koosman sailing along, and Mcnally now, since Clendenon homered, has retired 9 in a row. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball's inside, 2-1. Nobody on, nobody out. On deck, Ed Charles. Fly ball to deep right. Right Robinson. Back by the wall. Oh, what plays we've had today.
Kurt, Frank had a little bit of trouble with the sun and with the high sky of which is close, but he had the ball in range all the way. And, of course, Frank knows how to play right field. He knew he had room going back against the fence and then just banged a little hard into the fence but kept the ball in the glove all the way.
Ed Charles hit into a forced play and grounded to short. 35-year-old infielder takes ball 1. Like to read some of his poetry. They say it's good. 1 out, nobody on. Lashes it down the left field line. This may be for extra bases. Buford playing to tear him off the wall, and into second is Ed Charles with a double. Well, the Mets now have 3 hits. The Orioles no hits. The catcher of the Mets, Dave Grody, fly to center. Hit a slow roller that Brooks Robinson and made another one of his special plays on. Mcnally had retired 10 in a row. Now the Mets are threatening here in the top of the 7th. Check swing foul. Blair out in center field playing all these hitters shallow. We'll get a shot of him here in a moment. The 1 strike pitch. All 1 strike line. There he is. He has confidence in his ability to go back.
Kurt, there even have been times when Yastrzemski has been in this ballpark where Blair has played that shallow and then gone right to the fence to take away home runs from Yastrzemski, even playing that shallow.
1 ball, 1 strike. Brody hits it foul up in the seat. The Mets had a big delegation here that in the top of the seventh came up for the seventh inning stretch. And most of the Mets fans are in back of the Mets dugout, first base way. Dave Mcnally from the Big Sky Country of Montana. One ball, two strikes. High fly in a shallow center. Belanger, the shortstop, calling for this one, and they're two down. Montana, not only the Big Sky Country, but some blue ribbon South Streams out there, too. Al Weiss is single and struck out.
Kurt, you do a lot of fishing. Is that Snake River a good spot to fish? Have you ever fished there?
I fished the Snake. It's very good. But they have Rock Creek and the Yellowstone and the Jefferson and the Missouri. They're going to put Weiss on. And they'll pitch to Jerry Koosman. The Mets will have runners on first and second. This is the third walk by Dave McNally. The Mets are leading 1-0 here in the top of the seventh. I forgot the big hole, too. That's another great stream. Gary Koosman getting a big hand for his brilliant pitching here today.
Number 36, Gary.
He's a lifetime 062 hitter. There's a home of Koosman, the banner. Morse, Minnesota. His father is sitting out in that delegation. The delegation is 12. Koosman has struck out twice. Ground ball to second. Johnson's throw to Powell, and the Mets are out in the top of the seventh. No runs, one hit. There were no errors, and two men left. At the end of 6 1/2, it's New York 1 and Baltimore 0. Quebec again.
Thank you, Kurt. Down here with me, Joe Garagiola, one of the funniest people anywhere, not just in baseball. Joe, Koosman's firing the ball by everybody.
I tell you, he makes the catcher look awful smart by the way he's pitching. He's changing speeds, and the toughest job for any catcher today is to remember what finger he puts down because he's not going to make any mistakes. I think his ability to change speeds has made his fastball so effective, and he's just been a tremendous pitcher, obvious by the scoreboard.
Joe, being based in New York, you've had a chance to see this Mets ball club all year long. They do have more than just pitching, don't they?
No question about it. I think they've got good defense, and they don't make that many mistakes. They don't beat themselves. They make you lose to them.
Plus, they've got a good tallier leading them, Gil Hodges.
Gil Hodges, and I can't forget my man at first base, Yogi. He's the secret weapon.
Speaking of Joe Garagiola, thank you so much. Right now, let's go on back upstairs.
Joe will be on the Today Show Monday morning and through the week covering the World Series for NBC. Game 3 will be on Tuesday on NBC starting at 12:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Ball Blair, strike one, hard. Blair slide to left and popped up. World Series report starts at 12:30 with Sandy Koufax, Mickey Mantle, and Ginny Simpson. Frank Robinson on deck, and then Powell. Curve. There's the first base hit of the game for the Baltimore Orioles. Koosman loses his no-hitter. Now the big boys are coming up for the Orioles, Robinson and Powell. Gary Koosman has set down 13 Orioles in a row since Johnson walked in the second. Paul Blair, good base runner, first base. He stole 20 bases out of 26 attempts back this last year. They're deep and straight away for Robinson. Foul ball back. He nearly put one out in the first with a long drive to right center. That forced Svoboda up against the fence, and he grounded out in the fourth to short. He's smart at that plate. He likes to guess with that pitcher, wait for his pitch. That's why he has so many check swings. One strike to him. That's what he does. only man to ever hit a ball out of this ballpark, completely out of it, is at the plate right now, Frank Robinson. 66 seasons. Ball two. He hit one over the left field grandstand. Just, you see that sign right up on that pennant, right over that back wall. What a terrific shot that was. The only man to ever do it in this ballpark. There's a line drive to center. Tom Agee there for it. One away. Paul Blair scooting back to first. The New York Mets are leading 1-0. In the last half of seventh, and Bruce Powell coming up and struck out and grounded out. For a fellow that has such a big swing and hits with such power, he makes contact. It's 3:04 for the season. The Orioles are warming up Tom Phoebus in their bullpen. Powell got a big hit for the Orioles this year in the ninth inning of the opening game against Minnesota in the playoffs. He had a leadoff homer to tie the game. The curve, fly ball down the right field line is foul. He didn't have a good swing on that. He was fooled. Early in the year, Powell was lunging a lot. On the baselines, he got into a collision with Tommy Tresh, hurt his hip, cut down in his swing, and helped his batting average. A one-strike pitch. Outside to him, 1-1. On deck is Brooks Robinson. Paul Blair at first, 1 out. Mets are leading 1-0. Again, a sidearm breaking pitch at him, fooled. Fouls are back at 1-2. Koosman's coming in there sidearm to him. One ball, 2 strikes. Pops it up. Bud Harrelson, the Mets shortstop, waiting for it. Squeezes it out, number 2. And here's Brooks Robinson. Now, so far, the Mets pitchers are taking care of Robinson and Powell in this series. Brooks Robinson, 0 for 2. Koosman finished strong for the Mets this year. He had a 5-game winning streak at the end of the season. He was knocked out in Atlanta in Game 2 in their championship series. But he's bounced back today with a brilliant effort. The curve is a strike. Fastball, third, changeup, mixing them up. Brooks failed to hit yesterday. He's 0 for 6 so far after getting 7 for 14 against Minnesota. You know, he knocked in 84 runs during the year. When you consider hitting behind Powell and Robinson, who cleaned the bases a lot, that's quite an RBI total. There goes the runner. The throw by Grody. Blair steals second.
Blair with a pretty good jump on Koosman. Blair had 20 steals, just in under the tag and in time.
Now the Orioles have the tying run at second, 2 down. A 1-1 pitch to Brooks Robinson. Base hit. This is going to be a tie game. Going in the score is Paul Blair, and it's 1-1. stolen base and a single have given the Orioles their first run. Dave Johnson has walked and flied to right. Pulling a curve. And Robinson gets back to first. No action right now in the Met bullpen. One run, 3 hits for the Mets. 1 run, 2 hits for the Orioles. Curve again, and it's a ball. 1-1. What a stop by Ed Charles Forceway. Another brilliant play in the game. Sensational infielding today on the part of both ball clubs.
Here comes now the 4th brilliant play we've had by infielders. Charles got his glove down just in time. He had the glove down, the ball right in the glove. Then he had to straighten up and make the strong throw over to first base. Over to second base, rather, for the 4th play.
So the score at the end of 7 innings is tied. New York 1 and Baltimore 1.
Classic.
In the top of the 8th inning, Tom Agee up with a count 2-1. Hit hard to short. Mark Belanger over the first foul is 1 out. Dick Hall, a right-hander, warming up. Right after today's World Series game, stay tuned for American Football League action. You'll see one of the following games, either New York Jets at Cincinnati, Houston at Kansas City, or Oakland at Denver. Bud Harrelson bounced to the pitcher, walked and fouled to the catcher. 0 for 2. Foul ball down the third baseline. Pitching and defense have sparkled today on both clubs. On deck is Cleon Jones. One ball, 1 strike. One out, nobody on. Brooks Robinson to his left. He's got him. He's down. The human vacuum.
Kurt Belanger was in position to get the ground ball, but Brooks cut right in front of Belanger. He had the glove down just like Charles did, and then he had to hurry his throw to first base to just get the runner by 2 steps.
You can see why Brooks Robinson says, I go all right to my left. I have a little trouble to my right. Cleon Jones fouled out, lined out to left field in the 3rd, flied out to center in the 6th.
Kurt, the one fundamental that Brooks Robinson talks about to youngsters during special baseball clinics, the first thing he mentions is when the ball comes off the bat, he tells youngsters, get the glove down, get the glove down.
Now with 2 down and nobody on, Robinson plays over and guards the third base line. Curve strike to Jones. Has to keep a ground ball or a line drive from going down there for extra bases with 2 away. He's won the Golden Glove Award 9 years in a row for the top fielding third baseman in the nation. American League. 1 ball, 1 strike. Score tied 1-1 in the top of the 8th. Ball 2 to Cleon Jones, 2-1. There's Don Clendenin on deck. Curve, strike 2. The Orioles have the bottom of the order coming up in the last of the 8th. Echeverren, Belanger, and Mcnally. Dick Hall's warming up in the Oriole bullpen, which means we may have a pinch hitter for Mcnally. We'll wait and see what happens. The 2-2 pitch to Cleon Jones. Foul. This boy wound up as the third leading batter in the National League. Year before, he ranked 6th in batting. Looks like he'll be up there in that top 10 for years to come. The 2-2 pitch, fouled off. Two down, nobody on. 2-2 to Cleon Jones. Fly ball to deep right. Frank Robinson drawing a beat on it. And the Mets are out 1-2-3 in the top of the 8th inning. At the end of 7 1/2, the game is tied 1-1. Cincinnati, birthplace of professional baseball, was also the site of the first World Series game. Chester Allen Arthur was president of the country when on October 6, 1882, the Chicago Colts National League champs clashed in an unauthorized series with the Cincinnati Red Sox. Way back to 1882. And, of course, this is baseball's centennial year. Andy Etchebarren is fly to center and fly to right. Ball one. On deck is Mark Belanger. Then the pitcher, Dave Mcnally. Line drive. One away. Al Weiss making the play. We've had a lot of balls hit hard, even though it's a 1-1 ball game. Mark Belanger's fly to center and flying to right. Manager Earl Weaver says that Dave Johnson hitting number 7 at a 280 average and this boy hitting 287 meant 15 games in the standings for the Orioles, a strike down at the bottom of the order. Yesterday, the bottom of the order helped the Orioles come up with that 3-run inning. One strike to Belanger. Curve is over, strike 2. The National League umpires work a little bit different than the American League umpires in their position behind the catcher. Strike. And now look, on a right-handed batter, Belanger's out. The National League umpire is on the inside of the catcher. Left-hander on the other side. The American League umpire stands directly in front of the catcher. Dave Mcnally, with 2 down, nobody on, will hit for himself. Gets a big ovation here from these fans in Baltimore. Mcnally is struck out and grounded out to the pitcher. They're playing him shallow and over toward right to hit late. So he flies to deep left. Going back is Cleon Jones on the warning track for the out. Mcnally nearly reached the fence with that one. He fooled everyone. 3 up and 3 down. At the end of 8 innings, the game is still tied. New York 1 and Baltimore 1.
Welcome home, one of the great Cinderella teams in modern baseball. And that should be a great ball game. You'll see it all happen on NBC beginning at 12:30, 11:30 Central Time, Tuesday. Here's Kurt Gallagher.
Don Clendenin has walked, hit a home run to right in the 4th, grounded out in the 6th. Fouls it away. Frank Robinson's having some troubles with his left leg. I think he hurt it bumping into the wall on a catch earlier in the game, and they've been working on him in the Baltimore dugout. I think it's his left leg. He might have bruised it. Clendenin, Swoboda, and Charles for the Mets here in the top of the 9th. Strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Mcnally has struck out 6, walked 3, given up 3 hits. Koosman's allowed only 2 hits. And on deck, Ron Swoboda. Out of play. Our statistician, as during our regular Game of the Week series through the summer, here in the World Series, is Alan Ross, and our stage manager, Jim O'Gorman. One ball, 2 strikes to Don Clendenin. Body English going on that one behind home plate, all leading into the strike zone. Ball 2, 2-2. Nobody on, nobody out in the top of the 9th. The game is tied 1-1. Fastball, striking out Clendenin. 7 strikeouts for Dave Mcnally. Ron Swoboda has fouled out, struck out, and flied out.
Number 4, Ron Swoboda.
Fairly good breeze has sprung up now and is blowing from first base towards third. There'll be a little factor here somewhere. 1 out, nobody on. Right on the letter. Frank Secora, umpiring in his 4th World Series. Fouls a curve off, and the count is 0-2. The Mets threaten in the 7th, and McNally set him down in order in the 8th as the first man out here in the 9th. As ahead on the count is Swoboda with Charles on deck. Ball 1. This has to be one of the best defensive World Series games ever played. We just had one corking play after another one by both clubs. The 1-2 pitch. Ground ball, Boog Powell off the bag. Mcnally will cover. 2 down. You know, Powell's an underrated first baseman, isn't he, Bill?
Most people, when they look at a big man, Kurt, they figure, he doesn't cover too much ground and he's slow. But Powell, although he's 245 to 250 pounds, has fine reflexes, and he's very mobile for a big man, and he proved that mobility getting backhanded to that ground smash.
2 down, Ed Charles up. Grounded into a 4th play. Grounded to short and double to left. And once again, Brooks Robinson moves over on top of that third baseline. With 2 down. And a tie game here in the 9th inning. It's a third strike to Charles. Charles does something. Jerry Grody would be up next. Looking ahead to the Oriole 9th, they have the top of the order up. Buford, Blair, and Frank Robinson. 0-2. The Mets are warming up Tug McGraw in their bullpen. Two-strike pitch. Bounding ball into left field. Charles has his 2nd hit in a row. Buford throws into Dave Johnson. Now the Mets have 4 hits, the Orioles 2 hits, and Jerry Grody the batter. Fly to center, rolled out to third, and popped to short. Fastball strike to Grody. Charles stole only 4 bases in the year. No balls, 1 strike. Curve is inside to him. 1-1. Ed Charles at first, 2 away. Ball 2. Pitch got away from him. We pause briefly for station identification. Kurt Gowdy and Bill O'Donnell back here in Memorial Stadium, Baltimore. 2 down, game tied 1-1, top of the 9th, and Tony Kubek in the stands. The 2-1 pitch, fouled down the first base line. Notice those insignias on top of the visitors' dugout, representing each club of the American League. Two and 2 to Jerry Grody. There goes Charles. There's a base hit to left. Charles is coming around to third. The throw goes into second. And the Mets have runners on first and third. So after 2 out, nobody on, successive singles by Charles and Grote. They had Charles running on the pitch, and he got over to third. And now George Bamberger, the Oriole pitching coach, is going to the mound. There's nobody warming up right now in the Oriole bullpen. He may just be coming out to talk to Mcnally. If you bring a right-hander on to Weiss, the Mets would undoubtedly shift to their left-handed hitters. And the left-handed hitters who haven't played in the first 2 games of this series were red hot against Atlanta.
Kurt, although these 2 clubs are playing each other for the first time, both clubs have personnel that have told their managers and the rest of their ball players about the strengths and weaknesses of the opposition. For example, Tommy Agee and Al Weiss of the Mets have both played in the American League and both played for the White Sox, and they know quite a bit about the Orioles. And 2 of the members of the Orioles, a relief pitcher, Dick Hall, and also a utility catcher, Clay Dalrymple, both played with the Phillies, so they know quite a bit about the Mets.
After Bamberger went back to the Oriole dugout, the sign went out to the Orioles for warm-up action. It's Dick Hall warming up again now. There's a base hit to left. Coming in to score is Charles, and the Mets take the lead 2-1. 3 hits in a row for the Mets. Al Weiss coming through with a big hit here with 2 down in the top of the 9th. And Jerry Koosman's up now. Koosman has struck out twice and grounded out. Jerry Grody stopped at second. Runners on first and second, 2 down. The Mets now have 2 runs, 6 hits. The Orioles 1 run, 2 hits. Nothing in 1 to Koosman. That's the lead runner, Grody at second. There's Al Weiss at first. He's been on base 3 times today. A .215 hitter has driven in the lead run. Hitting in the number 8 spot. Mr. Barron blocked it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Weiss drove in the only run for the Mets yesterday. Strike to Jerry Koosman. is going to come out and face the top of the Baltimore batting order in the last of the ninth inning. Buford, Blair, and Frank Robinson. Foul back. 1 ball, 2 strikes. On deck, Tom Agee at the top of the order. Well, the bottom of the order has done it for the Mets here in the top of the ninth. The 2-2 pitch. Slow roller. Belanger charging. Throws him out. But the Mets had 1 run, 3 hits in a row. There were no errors and 2 left. We're going to the last of the ninth inning with a score. New York 2 and Baltimore 1. Koosman just walking to the mound, getting a hand from some of the fans. And let's quickly go down to Tony Quebec.
Thank you, Kurt. With me once again, Mickey Mantle. Mickey, I have not seen very many World Series games where there were more great defensive plays made.
Well, I haven't either, Tony. I think that Brooks Robinson's made some of the best plays I've ever seen. Them plays where he comes running in along the infield there and grabs that ball and throws it on a dead run like that. I've seen him play a long time, but he still amazes me every time I see him.
Mick, you know what Al Weiss just did a moment ago in getting that clutch base hit has been typical of this Mets ball club all year long. It's always somebody different.
I know it just seems like whenever they have to have a hit like that, they get one. It's going to be tough for the Orioles to score. It looked like the wind was changing for a while, but it's blown in from right field. If they get a hit one, they have to hit it over the left field fence.
Mick, thank you so much. Right now, let's go on back upstairs.
Don Buford leads off for the Baltimore Orioles in the last of the ninth. He has struck out, lined to short, and grounded out. He'll be followed by Blair and Frank Robinson. Gary Koosman had a no-hitter for 6 innings. The first hit off him was by Blair in the 7th. Brooks Robinson singled Blair in, and those have been the only 2 hits in the game. For the Orioles, here's the pitch. Ball 1 to Buford. Foul back. And right in our NBC telecasting booth for another souvenir. The Mets have an active bullpen. Tug McGraw, left-hander. Taylor, a right-hander, warming up. 1-1 pitch. Pop-up into right center. Swoboda calling for it. And there's 1 out. Swoboda's had 5 putouts today in right field. Well, so far, the Orioles have had their fewest hits in any game this season. Twice they were held to 3 hits during the year. They've had only 2 hits today. Paul Blair, fly to left, popped up and singled. The Orioles have had an incredible home record this year. They won 63 and lost only 21 here all year. Koosman's curve hangs outside for him. Ball 1. He's had a live fastball today, a good curve, and then he's changed up, mixed them up. Sharp control. Ball 2, 2-0. He's walked only 1 man. On deck, Frank Robinson. That was Dave Johnson in the 2nd. Foul back. Mets are leading 2-1, last of the 9th. Outside of that 1 walk, Koosman's had only 2 3-2 counts in the game. Now he's 3-1 for Paul Blair. Frank Robinson to follow, and then Boog Powell. Strike two. It's an interesting thing to look at the infield. Ed Charles is right on the third base line, and so is Don Clendenin. They don't want anything to go down that line for extra bases. That's Charles. Look at him, just a step off the third base line. And Clendenin very close to the line at first. Ground ball to short. Bud Harrelson throw to Clendenin, 2 down. The Orioles' last chance now is Frank Robinson. Fly to deep right center in the first, grounded to short in the fourth, and fly to center in the seventh. Only 90 pitches have been thrown in this game by Jerry Koosman. And now they're going to put 4 outfielders against Robinson. Al Weiss is going out to left field, the second baseman. In the left center goes Jones. Agee goes to right center, and Swoboda's in right field. 4 outfielders are now defense. Bill Hodges did this against certain dangerous long ball hitters certain times during the season. So a special defense of 4 outfielders and 3 infielders now aligned against Frank Robinson. Trying to keep the ball from going in the gaps or in the corners. Gil Hodges sitting down. He hasn't made many mistakes this year. Ball 1. But he did a great job managing over at Washington in the American League, too. Two down, nobody on. 1 ball, no strike. A strike on a fastball. 1-1. Dumping a Robinson flat out to the second baseman in deep left field. Strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Frank Robinson. Koosman throwing just as hard now as he did in the first inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Curve is a little bit low. 2-2. Robinson can hit to right field. Maybe try to go to that open right side of the infield, if he can. 2-2 count. Foul, out of play. Mets are leading 2-1. The Orioles have 2 down, nobody on, and a 2-2 count to Frank Robinson. Three and 2. A 3-2 pitch. He walked him. The Orioles have the tying run on. Now Al Weiss is going to have a runner for Frank Robinson, who has a bad leg, evidently. Rettenmund is coming in to run for Robinson at first. Al Weiss comes from left field back to second base. Merv Rettenmund now running at first. And Frank Robinson, who's hobbled evidently with a bad left leg. You can see him limping as he goes into the dugout. Rube Walker's gone out to talk to Koosman. Don Clendenin's there on the mound. And the dangerous Boog Powell's up. Grounded out, popped up. Two hits, and 2 walks. All that Koosman has allowed today. He has struck out 4. Ball 1, coming in with that crossfire delivery against the left-handed batter. Brooks Robinson on deck. Rettenman at first, 2 down. Foul back. One and one, the foul. Trying to hold Rettenman close. Curve is ball 2. Brody blocking it out in front of him as the catcher should do. 2 balls and a strike. Doug McGraw, Ron Taylor, still loosening up in the Met bullpen. Three and one. Charles wants to come over and talk to Koosman. He's pitching fine, of course, to Frank Robinson and to Powell. You have to. Let's see what he gives him now on 3 and 1 with 2 down. Rettenman at first. That's a ball. Foul tip. 3 and 2. 2 down. Rettenman will be running on the pitch. There goes Rettenman. Ball 4. With 2 away. And the batter will be Brooks Robinson. Gil Hodges now, the manager of the Mets, is coming out. Speaking of comebacks, what a comeback he made. We said hello to him on a World Series last year when he was in the hospital with a heart attack. And here he is now managing in a World Series a year later. Where the managers earn their money right now with the decision. Leave him in or take him out. He's going to take him out, and Ron Taylor is going to come in to pitch to Brooks Robinson. He should get a tremendous ovation, Koosman. What a game he pitched here today.
Koosman came within 1 out and pitching a complete ball game. He was extremely strong through the middle innings when he retired 13 in a row.
Ron Taylor, who pitched yesterday 2 innings, allowing no hits, no runs of relief. 31 years old, born and lives in Toronto, Ontario. He won 9 and lost 4 for the Mets this year, had 13 saves, and an earned run average of 2.72. Brooks Robinson came up with 2 down and Paul Blair on second in the 7th and singled him home. After 2 out, Koosman walked Frank Robinson and Boog Powell. So the Mets are still trying to get this last out. It's always the hardest one. They nearly hit him. Ball 1 to Brooks Robinson. Gary Koosman went 8 2/3 innings, allowed only 2 hits. Both those hits coming in the 7th. 1 run. He's responsible for the 2 men on. He walked 3 and he struck out 4. Rettenman on second. Yesterday, Taylor struck out Brooks Robinson for the last out. Well, the Orioles 8. 1 ball, no strike. They play Robinson straight away. A check swing. Ball 2. Started, held on. See that look he gave umpire Satori. If the to say you called that one right. 2 balls and no strikes. Letterman at second. Boog Powell at first. Curve is in. 2-1. You may be saying it, Taylor. You better get down a little bit, those pitches. It's been up high to Robinson. Two balls and a strike. Three and one. Doug McGraw still warming up in the Met bullpen, a left-hander. Robinson swinging at an outside pitch. That looks like ball 4 for sure. 3-2 now. 2 down. The runners will be going. Redmond at second. Powell at first. He said, let's go. 3-2. We're going. There go the runners. There's a ground ball to Charles. Makes the way to throw to first. He had ideas to go to third. He would have been late there. He went to first. Glendenon dug it out of the dirt, and the Mets win it 2-1. Charles made a quick mental recovery on that one.